right, hey everybody, welcome back to the Golf Club of Dallas. This is part 2 of 3 of the Fluid Motion Factor program. Last week we introduced this idea of, in our mind, softly saying a number while we swing the club, and there's no magic way to say the number. It's just thinking about something different rather than getting petrified with a bunch of swing thoughts. And so that first session was to lay the groundwork of maybe I can create my natural swing more consistently if I just take that leap of faith and swing in a place of comfort. And this is chapter 2, where we go just a little bit deeper, building off of that idea. And the first concept of the second set is called setting one. And that basically means right before you pull the trigger, we go through our process like usual. You might be thinking, put it at the chimney, and we're thinking 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. A little brief pause, and then a long 9. That might be sort of our plan for the shot. Setting one means as you're going through this, almost like a conveyor belt's happening, and you're doing these little subconscious waggles and going through your routine. Right before you pull the trigger, setting one is, right now, if I drop the club, would I feel a lot less anxiety than I was feeling when I'm right about to pull the trigger. So the first exercise in setting one, let's just go through our routine, pick out a target, and right before we pull the trigger, just notice how much anxiety, how much anticipation of the shot you have holding the club versus if you just drop it and you're out of it. See how much of a difference that makes. Then you can set one in the first couple feet of the takeaway, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9 into the ball. And then as that club's moving back, if you were to drop it again, would you feel much different than you feel with the club in your hand? The idea is to try to create this feeling of wholeness, the togetherness of all the parts of the swing. Nothing's standing out, nothing's pulsating like Las Vegas night lights of fear or some bit of awareness that catches you. There's a bird that just went by, or remember to turn or get to your left side or whatever. You're just trying to feel more or less the same with the club in the hand versus not in the hand. And the reason we do this word wholeness, or the togetherness of all parts, I like to call it right here honest comfort. To me, you know when you feel comfortable over the shot, and more likely than not, if you're honestly comfortable over the shot, you're going to be able to pull off what you're envisioning doing. And if we break this wholeness before we pull the trigger, if we're over here and all of a sudden something flashes and we kind of regain our awareness and we're back here, it's better to just back off. And they think that people are going to get annoyed with them if they continually back off, but it's a game of comfort. You want to really foster a feeling of honest comfort. If something breaks your wholeness, when you set one, if you're checking in on yourself, if you feel much more comfortable with the club out of your hand, that's a clue that you got to reset. So that theme is going to keep coming back, this idea of wholeness. It's like a smoothie. There's not one part of the smoothie that is really visible. The bananas, there's not big chunks of bananas, there's not little blueberries in there. You can think of that as your grip thought, as your swing thought, as your knee position. If there's some little swing thought that's breaking the wholeness of the picture, then when you're setting one, you're not comfortable. You back off, and then the next time you're coming in, you're trying to just swing with that freedom that you feel on your good shots. So to work on that, we set one without a ball to establish a baseline feeling of comfort. So without even a ball on the ground, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, set one before I pull the trigger. Just kind of take a mental scan, see what I'm thinking about, see if I'm nervous. Okay, without a ball. And that's going to be your ideal level of wholeness. Without even a ball in the way, that level of ease should be how you hit every shot, even if it's for $1 million and you feel like you really have to focus. It's the same thing as when you're sitting here. There's not even a ball on the ground and you just make a practice swing. That's the goal, if you can get to that place mentally. I think last time we talked about thinking about hitting your first ball in the ocean, anywhere in the ocean, and then the second ball with a very specific target, and your goal is just to pay attention to how your mentality changes between the two. Do you get more tense? Do you get more nervous? Do you get more swing thoughts? Do you feel like you have to direct the swing, or do you just let it flow and let it swing? And then you can start thinking about setting one as how well was one set. So I'm going 9s into the shot, going to that little stake, 9s in the shot, 9s in the shot. Gonna do a quick scan. I'm gonna set one. Okay, I feel pretty good, and I'm going to proceed. And if it's a shot that's a reasonable version of your intent, then you would say that I set one pretty well. I took the time to check myself to see how I was feeling before I pulled the trigger. How well was one set? That's a drill we're going to do today. And what you'll start to notice is you're going to establish a correlation between a good set and a good shot. It's like a last little check-in that you're ready to proceed. Because once it gets to a certain point, once that trigger goes, it's too late. That's a big part of Steven's program, is he's got that song from back in the day, "It's too late, baby. It's too late, baby." Once that trigger gets going, the swing is what it is. You can't micromanage the swing while you're swinging. It's going too fast. So before we ever pull the trigger, we have to set one, feel like, all right, we're ready to go, and then we let it rip. Again, we're trusting the cerebellum to do its job. If we're thinking about, in our logical part of our brain, how to make the swing while we're swinging, we're screwed. It has to be that weird mental headspace that we're at when we're a shortstop, the ball's coming right to us, and we step up and we throw it. We can't possibly think about every little minute muscle movement that needs to happen to get the ball where it needs to go. We're trying to access that inner brilliance in the cerebellum, and that's the reason we do these little 9 tricks. You're trying to put the logical part of your brain to sleep, basically. You're giving it a task to do, so it gets out of the way. If it has no task to do, it's going to go, don't mess up, don't get embarrassed, don't lose $100, don't, forgot to do this, got to do that. You got to give it a little task. Just say 9 softly in your head every once in a while. 9, 9, 9. That keeps it occupied, and then you can just step up and perform. There's another drill that we'll do where we're 9s into the shot, set one at the beginning, and then we're going to set one again at the top. We're going to see how we feel at the top, and it should feel the same as at the bottom. The intent is more important than actually executing it. Just the intent of saying, okay, before I pull the trigger, I'm going to check myself, and then at the top, I'm going to check myself. There's no perfect way to do it. Just the intent of getting your mind to work that way is going to bypass the logical part of your brain, and you're going to be able to produce your fluid swing more consistently. We get to a place where we're 9s into the shot, we set one, and then during the whole swing, we feel like we're setting one. We feel like at any point in the swing, if you were to take the club out of your hands, there would not be this huge relief. There's not this anxiety built up in the swing. At any point in the swing, you feel honestly comfortable. Okay, so what does this mean? Honest plan in universe 1, honest comfort in universe 2. Stephen Yellen talks about, for him, the word comfort you can replace with wholeness. That's that idea of the smoothie where there's no one part of the swing that's really sticking out in our head. So if we're able to swing where we're not really quite sure what we're aware of, that's that athletic reactionary headspace that we're trying to be in. And a way that we can foster that transfer from the logical part of your brain to the athletic part of your brain is something called universe 1, universe 2 practice. So I like to draw a line on the ground mentally, and I'm sitting back here in universe 1, and past this line is universe 2. So when I'm in universe 1, my job is to use the logical part of my brain to assess the situation. Where's the wind? How's my lie? What can I honestly do with this club? How far can I honestly carry it? Once you have an honest plan in universe 1, then, like we talked about last time, there's no need to consciously remind yourself of the plan once it's set. We saw that we can think about something random like the number 9, we swing and we look up and the ball is tracing right where we had previously intended for the ball to go. What most people do is they get nervous, anxious, they say, oh, I don't want to be embarrassed, remember to hit it at the chimney, chimney, please chimney. If you can get out of that with some of these drills where you're setting one, quick scan, how am I feeling? You can get out of that cycle. So we're back here in universe 1, imaginary line on the ground. picking my target. Once I cross over there, my plan is just to be comfortable in that space. How I get to be comfortable, you can sing yourself a little song, you can say the number 9. It's just got to be some little way of flipping the switch from a very logical part of your brain, PFC, switching over to the very reactionary athletic cerebellum. So 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Quick set 1. Do I feel more or less comfortable with the club in my hand versus not in my hand? Yeah, I think I feel good. All right, let's proceed. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. And we let it rip. So universe 1, universe 2 is a really fun way to think about playing too. You can sit back here and pick out a really good plan for your shot, and then as you step through and you create your shot, you know, you honestly assess yourself. Was there anything that caught my awareness before I pulled the trigger? Was there anything that I was attached to? Was there one element of the swing that was bubbling up as I was moving the club? And more often than not, when you hit a great shot that's right in alignment with what you're trying to do, you're not quite sure what you did. It's the same thing as the shortstop getting the ball, quickly getting it back over to first base. He's not sure how he moved his arm. There's no time to think about all that. So the more you can train yourself, some people think of it as think box, play box. Back here we're thinking, right here we're playing. There's no swing thoughts going on. We're just an animal. We're just swinging the club. There's not the time to use the logical part of our brain. And the more we're aware of what broke our comfort, what broke our honest comfort or a wholeness, then just being aware of it is half of the battle. So just being aware of it, it starts to fade away. It's just when we're not sure what's happening and we're stuck in the same cycle over and over, then nothing ever improves. Stephen talks about the target is the most likely thing to break your honest comfort. So again, universe 1, totally welcome to think about your target. Universe 2, try to bury your target under that soft number 9 in your head. It sounds stupid, but if you keep doing it, it's just soft. It's like you're listening to me talk, and every 10 seconds in your head, you remember to say a little 9. Just the intent of keeping your awareness in that area is where you want to be if you're shooting a free throw or hitting a golf shot. You have to have something occupying the logical part of your brain so your reactionary part of your brain can do its thing. We talked about, I think I gave Walter this one, a good drill here is to hit 2 balls. The first ball, there's no target at all. As long as the ball gets airborne, it's considered a perfect shot. And then you're judging your anxiety, you're judging your anticipation of failure on that shot. On that shot, I felt like for some reason, 3 or 4 of y'all watching me, I knew that that ball would get up in the air and it was fine. I was very comfortable. I was honestly comfortable. Now, I absolutely positively have to hit it at the chimney or else I lose the US Open. When I set one in that environment, yeah, you start to feel a little bit more anxious. And then you step back here like you've got no ball on the ground at all. You're just making that swing. Now, can I have the discipline? Can I have the trust to make that same little effortless swing, knowing that I don't have to consciously remind myself of my target when the pressure's on? And that's when you can really start hitting some cool shots in competition. When you were able to flip the script in your mind and just trust that you've already established the plan, now the best thing you can do is say 9 in your head. Another way he thinks about it is we play our best golf when we're on the couch. This is when he's really getting abstract. He's saying you're just sitting here on the couch, seeing who shows up to the dinner party. You're not sure if they're bringing a fruit salad or if they're bringing a ham. You're just sitting here. You're not expecting to hit any great shot. You're just here hanging out, seeing what shot shows up. And that sounds super crazy. Some people that might be helpful. For me, it kind of just got me into that very accepting frame of mind where I'm swinging at nothing on the ground. If I can bring that same thing to a real golf shot, that to me is sitting on the couch. And when you play golf next, compare your result to your intent. So most people never even establish a real intent for their shot. Their intent is to not get embarrassed, or to, not lose money, or just get it out there somewhere. It's too vague. They don't have the boldness to really say, okay, what can I honestly do? Well, I'm a slicer, so I know I can aim a little left and put it back in position. That's an honest plan. That's something that you can honestly do repeatedly, and then you can pick your way around the course. So when you're playing golf, establish an honest plan, something that you know you can do from experience. That's back here in Universe 1, honest plan, think box. Once you've picked something you know you honestly can do, then you just go into the play box. I'm thinking 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Set one, pull the trigger, and you'll just start to see a correlation between your spooky good shots and just that right little headspace that lets you react to the shot. You don't have to be perfect at all your positions during the swing. If your head is in the right space, it's almost like a mystical experience. Your hand is going to automatically correct itself like Jimmy's did. His club face was really shut, and somehow he hasn't played much golf, but his intuitive athlete within is able to get that club face open when it's starting out really shut. There's some magic in there that you don't have to be so perfect with your technique. You can get away with murder as long as your head's in that very reactionary space. And the number 9s, thinking about swinging to no target. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. When I played my best tournaments, I would sing a song to myself. For some reason, that Everyone Knows It's Windy song was a good one for me. Something that's kind of repeatable, something that's got a little bit of rhythm to it. But again, at the base of it, you're trying to give your logical part of your brain a task so it doesn't just go beep, 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 beep. And it can't correct anything during the downswing consciously. If you're thinking about how to start the downswing, you've broken the wholeness, you've broken your honest comfort, and you're kind of putting the cart before the horse.